Let's be honest.
Day Shift is freaking awesome.
We open up the film in the beautiful or disgusting city of LA, depending on what you're there for.
Our main character, Bud, is breaking and entering this poor old lady.
Oh shoot! Granny got blasted!
That doesn't bother her any. This old rickety act is revealed to be a ruse.
She's actually a vampire, and our main character, Bud, is a vampire hunter.
How convenient.
Great start. This action sequence is freaking sauce.
Bud hunts vampires for their teeth, which he apparently sells for a high price.
Amazing though how after that entire battle sequence filled with war sounds coming from continuous shotgun blasts in the house, not a single cop was called.
Well, it is LA after all.
We then cut to our crime boss Villainous, who is a vampire herself, burying another vampire under the foundation of a future property space.
That makes sense. Most houses in LA have bodies cemented into the foundation.
I'm starting to really hate this city.
Starting? Where have you been, brother?
Bud picks up his daughter from school and goes home to meet his bickering ex-wife.
She grills him about what he's been up to and gets upset that he's not being straight with her.
You're not together anymore. He doesn't need to tell you anything.
Bud is given an ultimatum that he needs to rack up 10 G's to pay for his daughter's tuition and all that jazz, or else his ex-wife is gonna live up to her role and take their kid to Florida.
Florida? That's almost worse than LA.
Seriously, LA has vampires, but Florida has bath salt zombies.
Bud takes his vampire teeth to an underground dealer.
He's literally underground.
Apparently, the market for vampire teeth has been affected by the recession, and he's being lowballed for his hard work.
Wait until he sees the gas prices in LA.
Our villainess comes home to see her grandmother to get some good home cooking and finds her decapitated on the living room floor.
Dang, I actually feel bad for the vampire.
This turns the vampires onto Bud's scent for some sweet revenge.
Now that's a plot I can get behind.
It's like John Wick's Dogg, only the little old granny vampire gets murked by the good guy.
Nice twist.
Snoop Dogg himself enters the scene as a badass cowboy character.
Snoop plays a character named Big John, but we think the movie would be way better if Snoop Dogg just played himself, so he's just Snoop.
Bud and Snoop work together as vampire hunters, but are in hot water after a sloppy series of jobs.
Apparently there's city and penal codes associated with hunting vampires.
You mean killing vampires isn't good enough? You have to do it properly by the book?
That's LA for you. Leave it to the government to regulate everything.
Is that Dave Franco?
Yeah, it is.
Dang, it's just a cast member after a cast member in this movie. Netflix really dropped the big bucks on this one.
Let's not talk about Resident Evil, though.
That was a waste of money.
After getting his payout for the teeth, the Vampire Hunters Union takes their cut out of his paycheck.
Even in the fantasy world of vampires, the government still bones you in any way they can.
Damn taxes.
Franco gets partnered with Bud to help fight the vampire threat and make sure there are no code violations occurring during the process.
He doesn't want to do it because he's happy being safe in his cushy office position, but the boss tells him he has no choice and that Franco has nice cheeks.
Huh?
Yeah, I guess he has a nice ass. The buddy cop narrative starts with Buddy mentoring Seth while reloading rounds in preparation for the next hunt.
This is turning into a weird Training Day movie.
Hopefully it doesn't end with Seth getting his poo pushed in.
While Bud and Seth are on a job, Bud's black market fang dealer gets rocked by the villainous.
That's what he gets for price gouging.
Bud gives Seth a vampire shampoo to help get rid of the scent of vampire hunting off of him.
Apparently it stinks and really hurts if you get it in your butthole.
There's a lot of focus on Franco's butt in this movie.
He ends up getting it in his butthole, but we don't get to see that scene.
Dang it!
Bud and Seth meet up the next day for their next job.
Bud tells Seth that there's no way to follow the rulebook and stay alive in vampire hunting, and that Seth can't report all the violations he witnesses from Bud.
After discovering Bud's dealer's corpse, Bud tells Seth the real reason he can't call in violations yet is because he has to save his family from leaving for Florida, and any delay through bureaucratic red tape is going to delay his ability to save his family from leaving.
Seth has a dilemma now, whether he follows the rules of the job or sympathizes with Bud's situation and breaks the rules he believes in so much.
It's amazing how those out in the field understand the reality of how bad policy can be, and all those who sit at a desk doing nothing are quick to throw the book at you.
That's like every politician.
Bud and Seth run into another duo of vampire hunters, and together they raid a house filled with them.
It turns out to be a hive!
Finally, a sick action scene that isn't a ripoff of Kingsman.
You know, I never realized how much I love these gratuitous action scenes until we're balls deep in them.
Looks like a big payday for the boys.
That's a lot of undervalued vampire teeth.
Seth takes it hard that they killed all those vampires. He seems to have hope that vampires are similar to humans.
Bud corrects him and runs him through every vampire franchise made in the last 30 years, and assures Seth vampires are not anything like the movies, and all they are liars and murderers.
Seth takes it all in and concludes that he doesn't like Bud's take on how much he doesn't like the Twilight franchise.
Of course, that's all he got out of that speech.
Bud gets off work and takes his daughter to a birthday party, but while there, he receives a phone call from the villainess.
She's after him and hot on his trail.
Bud pulls some insane driving stunts while his daughter plays some Mario Kart ripoff.
Who says video games promote violence? They just distract you from the violence around you.
Bud and his daughter get home safely, only to be immediately in hot water again.
The villainess was 2 steps ahead and were lying in wait at his ex-wife's house.
Then what was the point of that entire chase scene?
I don't know, actually. But it was pretty cool.
The villainess plans on turning Bud and all his friends into vampires.
Seth wakes up from getting turned and gets killed by Bud.
Wait, no, he's alive!
He's the only vampire to have survived after getting his head cut off by Bud.
Guess it pays to be a union rep. Union members always survive beheadings.
Our villainess has taken Bud's family away and led them to some ancient underground vampire temple.
It looks like every other underground LA club.
Bud and Seth team up with his hot neighbor to set things straight.
We get another sick action scene as Snoop Dogg shows up and steals the entire show.
That's it, folks. That 15 seconds of film was the best part of the whole movie.
It can't get any better than Snoop Dogg shooting a minigun as a cowboy vampire hunter.
Snoop and Bud raid the LA club filled with vampires, and Snoop gets bit in the neck.
He gets his hero moment as he sacrifices himself and goes out in a blaze of glory.
Rip to the realist.
I guess Snoop Dogg really was playing himself.
The final showdown begins as Bud and his surviving crew face off against all the vampires.
Bud's good old silver wire trick gets the best of our villainess and the day is saved.
Bud's vampire hunting union gets to the scene after the smoke clears and tries to pin a bunch of violations on him.
Seth sticks up for Bud, though, and counters all the accusations made by the union lead as we reach our happy ending.
Oh, and Snoop Dogg survived in the end. Turns out he was a vampire this whole time.
So he really was playing himself.
Guess it really is a happy ending.
True.